Look, Kanan, our son, and Aaron for sure have a crush on you, and I'm not holding it against you. I'm not. Aaron was watching a video, and he's like, "Oh, this is. I see Dr. Paige just did this one on Wednesday. This is what she's going to look like." Like,
you did a live.
Yes.
Like, this is what she's probably going to look like tomorrow when we speak to her.
Look, if I didn't love you so much, I would have felt really disrespected. But
I'm a little embarrassed that you decided to take it upon yourself to do that.
Oh my God.
But yes, Dr. Paige, you're very attractive.
That's hilarious.
Okay,
where's my shot? You know,
shot. Like,
this is my opportunity, I guess.
We've not been married for 2 years and 3 kids.
Hey, we're always together.
Hey everybody, welcome to February 1 podcast.
We are back for season 3.
Okay, look, today for season, we're not playing any games.
We're not. We're coming with the big stops this year.
Okay, and on the line, we have a superstar. Okay.
Well, we have a doctor again this year. We're so lucky to have Dr. Paige on this today.
A celebrity.
Right, pretty much.
For real.
She's our own personal celebrity. Because we watch her every single day. We've been waiting for these results for the past, 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
Yes.
So we're super, super excited to have Dr. Paige with us. So can you introduce yourself for us?
Wait, no. That's not enough. Okay. Before Dr. Paige introduces herself, I need to let the people know how big she and how much she means to us.
Go ahead.
In our household, our kids know her by name.
Okay.
She's not Dr. Paige, she's Auntie Paige. She's Auntie Gina.
Yes. Tell her like it is.
I know. Dr. Paige, seriously, we have stalked you a lot on YouTube. We have followed you. We have followed African Ancestry. It is such an honor to have you on the podcast, and thank you so much for taking the time.
We definitely appreciate it for sure.
Oh, of course. I don't even want to talk to you guys. I want to talk to the kids, but I understand that they're not there, so I'll settle for you two.
Look, Kanan, our son, and Aaron for sure have a crush on you, and I'm not holding it against you. I'm not. Aaron was watching a video, and he's like, "Oh, this is. I see Dr. Paige just did this one on Wednesday. This is what she's going to look like." Like,
you did a live.
Yes.
Like, this is what she's probably going to look like tomorrow when we speak to her.
Look, if I didn't love you so much, I would have felt really disrespected. But
I'm a little embarrassed that you decided to take it upon yourself to do that.
Oh my God.
But yes, Dr. Paige, you're very attractive.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Where's my shot? You know,
shot. Like,
this is my opportunity, I guess.
We've not been married for 2 years and 3 kids.
Hey, we're always together. Like we said, she's a celebrity. That's it.
This is hilarious. You guys are funny. This is so funny. I love little kids, though, so I'm sure that if I saw them on a video, I'd be equally as in love with them. So
yes, we'll send you some
Thank
pictures.
you.
Yeah, we'll definitely
of your distant nieces and nephews.
I love it.
All right, so I kind of just wanted to get started as Aaron did. I'll start off by telling everybody who's tuning into this episode, we are legit about to figure out where Aaron comes from.
Well, 1/8 of where I come from. I think.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Where his mom's people come from.
Yes.
Because Aaron has taken the African Ancestry test.
Yes.
Which, okay, Dr. Paige, not only do we love you, but Aaron, I'm telling you, I got this test for his birthday. For a full maybe year, maybe a little bit more, he was begging me for this test.
I found out about this, I think, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. He was on The Breakfast Club. And when I saw it, I was like, how he broke it down. And then immediately I went to YouTube, and then I saw everybody that you had revealed and spoken to. And I was like, the first 2, I literally was tearing up. I'm like, oh my God, this is the best, right? So then I was begging. I was like, babe, so we got to get this. We got to do this. This is important, And then she literally it had to be. I think it had to be my 30th birthday. Plus we were quarantined, so she had to do a little bit extra, because we were quarantined. But so That was like my only gift, and I was like smiling ear to ear, like to literally get the test.
He really was. I went through all the stops to make sure he didn't know, and it was a really great surprise.
Look, I purposely didn't check the account.
So accurate. We keep shaking. Okay, I kind of want to start off. If you could just introduce yourself to the people and tell us a little bit about how you started African Ancestry, what in your history and who you are as a person even brought you to this work.
What are your kids' names again?
Olivia, Kanan, and Kai.
Kanan. Okay. Olivia, Kanan, and Kai. Thank you for making me feel quite comfortable as we start this conversation. And I'm really honored to be the kickoff episode for your new season. Yes. Congratulations on a new season.
Thank you so much.
It really is an honor.
Yes.
So, I'm in the identity business, and now I have a new identity. I am Kanan, Kai, and Olivia's aunt. And I co-founded African Ancestry 18 years ago. So this is our anniversary month. 18 years ago, I partnered with Dr. Rick Kittles to help transform the way that we view ourselves as Black folks and the way we view Africa. Wow. And we've chosen to do that through DNA. And so that has pretty much been my identity for the last 18 years. So I really am glad to have some new nieces and nephews. In terms of education, I have a bachelor's of economics from Stanford University. I have an MBA from the University of Michigan. And I spent my career, the beginning part of my career, working for Fortune 500 companies like Colgate-Palmolive and Sara Lee Bakery. Okay. And I basically sold dish liquid. I marketed dish liquid, launched line extensions, new dessert products at Sara Lee Bakery. And so, that was what I did. But every step along the way, even before college, I was always focused on Black people, always. And so whenever I had a project or some kind of independent study, it was about something Black.
Awesome.
So that has been an undercurrent of my identity since as long as I can remember.
Wow.
And when I became a professional, the other thing I knew was that I didn't want to work for anybody else. I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to do my own thing. But I figured that I would learn on other people's dime.
Right.
So I wasn't going to just jump out there and try and figure it out myself. I went to the companies that knew what they were doing and I learned from them. And so when I took the leap out of corporate America and went out on my own, I felt like I had a solid basis, a solid foundation for doing marketing for myself. And so a few years later, I met Dr. Kittles and we were introduced by a colleague who knew that he wanted to commercialize his research. He had developed this database. He had worked at Howard. He was at Howard at the time, working on the New York African Burial Ground Project, where his job was to identify the ancestry of the bones. And when people found out that he could do it for bones, they figured it'd be easier for him to do it for them because they were alive.
Right.
And he had the secret sauce, if you will, to reconnect Black folks to Africa in a tangible way. But he's not a business person and I am. So I saw it as an opportunity to use the skills and the talents that my parents and I had invested in all those years to do something that's never been done before. So this isn't a new type of bottle that your dish liquid comes in. It's not a new flavor of cheesecake, and there's really not a lot that's brand new, but this is. And so I could launch something brand new for a group of people that I'm passionate about. So that's how I got here.
Awesome. Yes. Aaron also knew about the Sara Lee fact. So I'm really looking at him sideways because that's something really deep to know.
I pay attention.
Okay.
And that's the reason why you're with me, is because I pay attention.
You better relax.
Listen.
I'm getting caught up. Sorry.
You're safe. You're safe, girl. I'm 20 years older than y'all. You safe. You safe.
Aaron does not care. Okay, let me tell you.
Don't be telling my business.
Okay. I really do have another question that I think is really important. I think you spoke a lot to me. After hearing you speak, it sounds like to me that you're a person who from the get-go knew that you wanted to be invested in our community. And so that kind of gets me to start thinking about us as a whole, as African Americans. Typically, we cannot even trace, or we don't even know a lot about our identity 2 generations prior.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ask me about my great-great-grandpa, my great-great-grandmother, and I honestly could not tell you that much. So with that in mind, and thinking about us as a community, and that the fact that there is a huge void there, not only do we not know where we came from in terms of our country of origin, we also sometimes don't even know who we are 2 generations back.
That's
so
true.
As a community, what is your hope and your prayer for African ancestry? What imprint do you want to leave on us as a community, knowing those voids that we currently have?
I think we've already made the imprint, to be perfectly honest. I think that, I know that we've impacted people on lots of different levels, right? Absolutely. So one is just on African knowledge.
Right.
There's so many people who never even heard of the country that they share ancestry with. So now people can at least talk about an African country. We've set the stage for dispelling stereotypes.
Yeah.
Because part of, and I know this gets into another area of conversation that we may go into, but we don't learn anything positive. Historically, we have not learned anything positive about being African.
That's so true.
Even down to childhood. I remember it's been probably, it's probably been 10 years now, but I don't think the answers would be any different. We worked with a group of middle school students here in DC, and we asked them, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear these words? And so when we would say Africa, they would say things like children who look like me, who are starving. One girl said, I don't want to go to Africa because they got lions and tigers and stuff. And then you move up to adults, you hear corruption, you hear disease, just nothing, there are no cities, people walking around with no clothes on. It's just ridiculous, right? And they don't have they don't get positive images of us. They get the worst that the media has to show of African Americans. We're hoes, we're pimps, we're hustlers, we're thugs, we're poor. We all live in the projects, and it's ridiculous. And so by making these connections, we've helped to dispel the stereotypes. And then on a more personal level, you mentioned the void. We are the original victims of identity theft because we don't know anything about who we are. And so this gives us that connection to traditions and cultural practices and beliefs and values that inform us, even though we had no idea we were being informed by those things. And so it allows us to function it allows us to function more fully and as healthier people than if we kept walking around without that connection to our roots.
100%.
Wow. Yeah, that's deep. Well, I don't
better fix your little eyes.
I'm embarrassed at this point. I don't even have nothing to say. Like I am so embarrassed at this point. I guess I'm kind of ready to get the results. I can't wait. I'm like really excited.
I know. Okay. Before we do the results, though, I think I have one more question that I kind of wanted to touch on. Okay. So as a person who has been to East Africa, I've been twice. So I've been to Rwanda twice, and then I've been to Tanzania.
Hey, did you see that? I just saw something that said Teddy Riley is moving to Rwanda. Did you see that?
I haven't seen that.
Look, we're trying to move to Accra soon.
I know Aaron is all for. Aaron, that's another video he watches all day.
That's all I do on YouTube is like look up things, and then I looked up the year of return, and I was like, I've been like going crazy trying to figure out where we want to move and because like I want our children to be able to grow up in a culture where people look like them, and because I mean we even started a nonprofit recently where we provide black and brown stories to black and brown children, right? And like I feel like if they were in an environment where it wasn't something that you just have to throw out there or something that you have to put in front of their face, like I feel like they would be closer to their culture, know. And it's just it's something to me. It's unfortunate, but like literally, we're making a legit like plans.
No, that's good. And I did mean to cut you off, but let's keep going. So you were talking about how you traveled to Rwanda twice.
Yeah, no. Yes. So as a person, in college, I was allowed the opportunity to go to Rwanda, spend a month there. That was my first time experiencing anywhere in Africa. And then I decided to go back 2 years later, revisited everybody I met in Rwanda, but I spent some extensive time in Tanzania, this time Zanzibar. So I'm an educator. I taught high school, and so I knew another teacher who we went back together. So
that's where she found her other boyfriend.
I did have a couple of that was before Aaron, though. So.
That was like a month before she found me. She was all in love with this dude from Tanzania.
Yeah, so we almost were in a thing. Kanan, Kai, and Liv almost didn't happen. Okay. But essentially, I took my trip to Africa, and I will say 100%, for me at least, I'll speak only from my experience, as soon as I touched down, as soon as my feet hit that pavement, it was a whole experience that you just cannot put words to. I traveled though. The people that I went with a group of predominantly white. It wasn't like a whole bunch of black people. But for me, that experience was extremely emotional. I broke out into tears. I was wilding. I wrote a whole poem about it, okay? I was living my best life. But what I'll say is as soon as I got off that plane, I absolutely felt a connection to the land, to the people. It was amazing for me to be in a country and only seeing people who look like me.
That's deep, right? When does that ever happen?
It never, right, for us. And so what I will say is I felt an immediate connection to the land, and I felt a connection to the people. The other side of that, though, was as an American, I was hyper aware of my lack of connection to those group of people as well, right? So when you speak about being in Rwanda, I did not know the language. People would assume I was Rwandese, and they would walk up to me, and when I couldn't speak the language, it was like, it was wild. And so what I wanted to say about that was, while it was a transformative experience for me, it was also an experience where I actually realized the depth of the disconnect that I had to not only the land, but to the people. And when you think about us as African Americans now, and in our world, Africans and African Americans are two different groups of people, and there's a huge divide even within that, right? And slavery has severed that connection very, very deeply. My question is, with all of that, let me get my little thing. Can you speak to how we start to mend that divide? How we start to mend that divide, African Americans and African people, and do you think that this test serves as a way, or does this test lend itself more to making us aware of that disconnect or making us more aware of the connections? I'm hoping that's clear.
Okay. Yeah, it's clear. I just got to remember both parts. So in terms of what our test can do with the divide, I just want to reiterate what you said. The divide was man-made, and we didn't cause it.
Yeah.
It was an intentional disconnection meant to fuel profit and revenue. Right. So we didn't have any parts of that. And as long as we understand that, I think that there's a very good basis for reconnection. The challenge is we don't know who we are. and they don't know who we are.
Right.
Just like we don't learn about anything before the period of slavery, they don't understand what happened to us as a result of slavery. So there's all this misinformation that has arisen or resulted from that disconnection, right? When you find out where you're from, it does a number of things. So one thing that it does is the fact that we exist, and the fact that we exist and that there are people who want to know, African Americans and Afro Caribbeans and Afro everybody else who want to know where they're from, is a positive thing in the eyes of Africans. And we're making generalizations, right? There are, I'm just going to say, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I've been told time and time again how happy people on the continent are that we want to know where we're from. They're happy that we want to come back.
Yes.
And so that's one thing that helps with the divide, right? Because now they're seeing, wait, no, they are interested. They are part of us. They are our cousins.
Right.
The other thing that it does is when you get your results, what I've seen happen is people immediately want to learn more.
Yes.
They want to meet the people. They want to understand the language and the foods and the music and the dance and all those obvious cultural things. And so then relationships happen on this side as well.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know what city you guys live in, but here in DC, there's a huge community of Cameroonians. There's a huge community of Ethiopians, of Eritreans, of Sierra Leoneans in the area, as we say here, right? And so those doors are being opened, and that starts communication. And then I think if you just go inward, like I said before, dispelling those stereotypes and education, it just all boils down to education, helps the individual understand that everything they learned about Africa is false. Everything negative they learned about Africa is false.
Absolutely.
And that they come from a place that is more than they ever could have imagined.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that it is definitely a way to start conversations. And even if you haven't taken the test, and even for Africans who are like, I don't believe it, or they aren't African, or whatever the negative talk is, it's still conversation that happens. And that's what we need, conversation. And then that leads to education and connection.
Yes.
That's
Work,
awesome.
sis. I can call you that because we're
Quick
cool
question.
now.
Because I am your sister, because those are my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
So I saw in one video that you said you're kind of good at guessing what people are before they result.
No, I did not say that. You did not hear that. Dr. Kittles is good at that.
Okay.
The only ones that I can do, the only group that I've been successful at, and it's the only one I've tried because I knew I was going to be right, is the Yoruba. Like I see some trends among men whose ancestry we trace to the Yoruba, but that's it. I can't guess.
Okay.
I mean, Aaron's trying to steer us towards the results, so I guess we have no option.
Look, y'all been deep long enough.
Well, I'm going to string it out a little bit more because if you don't mind, I'd like to explain the test that he took.
Yes,
I think
I had some questions around that.
Yeah, there's an elephant in the rooms of some of the people who are following your podcast, and they probably think that we're just like everybody, all the other companies, and we're not. So I want to dispel that misunderstanding.
Well, let's talk about it.
Tell the truth. Tell it.
Right up front. So we differ in many different ways. The most obvious is that we were here before all the other companies, except for one. Family Tree DNA existed before we did, but no one else did. Okay. Number two, we're Black owned, and we're Black woman led.
Yes.
Word,
our entire staff is Black.
Yes.
Or of African descent, I'll say. Yeah. We have all Black scientists. None of the other companies have Black leadership. And you'll be hard pressed to find a Black scientist.
Yeah.
Wow. So those are the fundamentals. But now if we get into the actual testing, the way that DNA testing works for Ancestry is a company will take your DNA and unlock the code of a specific address on the DNA. Mm-hmm. So in our case, we're looking for the address for your maternal ancestry. Yeah. So your mitochondrial DNA that is inherited from your mother and her mother and her mother and so on. We also look in some cases at the code that you've inherited from your father for paternal ancestry. Other companies, they don't look for the maternal or the paternal. They look at all of your DNA mixed together. And they get different codes for different things. Whatever the code is, we then compare your code to the codes from people all over the world to look for matching codes. And if we find matching codes among other people, then you have to share ancestry with those people. Because the part of the code that we look at does not change generation to generation to generation. Right. So for example, I have DNA that is maternally inherited that I got from my mother. She and her brothers and sisters have it. My aunt's kids have it. My grandmother had it. Her brothers and sisters had it. So you see how it goes. Yes. I live in Washington, D.C. today, and I have the same code as someone who is a Fulani person who lives in Nigeria today. We have to share the same maternal line because the DNA didn't change. Right. So that means that I have it in DC, that person has it in Nigeria. We each got it from our mother, who got it from her mother. I'm the Atlantic, okay? This is the Atlantic Ocean. This is the US, this is Africa. Nigeria, DC. We each got it from our mother, who got it from her mother, who got it from her mother, and so on and so on. Ultimately, we came from the same woman.
Yes. Right.
But some of her descendants stayed in Nigeria and some of her descendants ended up in DC today. So that's how it works. So if you're looking for European ancestry, you want your code to be compared to as many European codes as possible, right? Because you want the biggest pool of data, right?
Yes.
Same thing if you're looking for red hair, or if you're looking for, blue eyes, or whatever it is you're looking for. But if you're looking for African ancestry, then you want your DNA to be compared to as much African DNA as possible. Right. Well, we have the largest pool of African DNA, the largest database of African DNA in the world.
Well, stun on them then.
So the other companies, they don't even have 2,000 samples. So when you go to those elephants that are in the rooms, the 23andMe's, the Ancestry.com, they're comparing your African code to fewer than 2,000 other people for the whole continent. And then they're telling you you're some percentage from this place, some percentage from that place. What in effect they're telling you is that you're from West Africa. Right. You don't need DNA to tell you that.
Right.
Pick up a book. Right. Or just I tell you that for free. You from West Africa. But we compare you to over 33,000 African samples that represent 40 countries and 400 ethnic groups. So we're not saying you're some percentage from this place or that place, region-wise. We're saying your maternal ancestry is found in, like Chadwick Boseman, in Sierra Leone among the Limba people. That's the difference. And then the icing or the cherry on top or whatever is we're the only company that does not sell or share our customers' DNA.
Because we got a history with doctors and
Henrietta Lacks
and people, Tuskegee,
researchers,
Tuskegee experiments, And that's why I don't go to the doctor now, because I don't trust them. Okay, I don't.
Well,
know.
yeah,
I'm
and it's
just
not
kidding.
even.
I'm just kidding.
You don't even have to go back that far. You know, they had the sister who made the news and went viral because she wasn't getting treated appropriately for COVID, and she was a doctor.
Doctor,
yes.
Right,
yes. So she knew that she wasn't being. So we can just look right. We don't even have to go back to Henrietta Lacks.
Right.
No, that's true.
We see it today. So and we're Black, and we're in the business of being Black, and we exist for Black people. So certainly we are not going to disrespect the Black community by doing something wayward with their DNA. Once our lab determines a result, then they destroy the DNA.
Yes,
we appreciate that.
For integrity. Okay, can we get 2 claps? No, I
so
love
that's
it.
how we're different. Better.
You know, after all the videos Aaron and I watched, that we knew all of those things, and I'm so grateful that you said them, though, because I think it made the process of figuring out, to your point, who you want to go to, right? If you're a normal person, to me, DNA might as well be rocket science. Do you know what I mean? It might as well be something so far-fetched and something that I have no idea about. So naturally, when Aaron was thinking about this, a question, why not go to Ancestry.com? That's the one I see the most, right? Why not go to 23andMe that talk about chromosomes, which I can't spell? So I don't know the difference. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm so grateful that you brought that up. And then for me, the icing on the cake is always that integrity. I feel like that's one of my core values, and it's one of everything that we do. We try to do it with integrity, and I'm so grateful that we have a Black-owned company that is not just saying, oh, we're the only Black-owned, so come to us. We have a standard for ourselves, we have a respect for our people, and we have a way that we're going to conduct ourselves and do things, and I think that's super important. So
yeah, and I think you also touched on something that I want to just be clear. I'm not throwing shade to the other companies in any way, except they can't tell you where you're from in Africa. That's shade all day, and those are facts. But if you want to know, how much ancestry you have from different places, then they can tell you that. That's not what we do. If you want to know if you can find your 3rd cousin or 5th cousin, we can't tell you that. They can. So it just depends. Every company plays its role, and our role is to empower Black people.
I'm here for it.
That's our role too.
Look, you have me at Black-owned.
You didn't even have to give the other facts.
Look, I'm down with the cause. Look.
So now you want to know where you're from?
Yes, please.
Okay, wait. Really quickly. I just have a question. Will this test tell us the country and the tribe that Aaron originates from, or what exactly will we know at the end of these results?
If the result turns out to be African, then yes, we will give him the present day country and the tribe of people within that country. And it may be more than one country. Okay, but that's how specific we get. But if it's not African, then we'll tell you whether it's European, Asian, or indigenous, or Middle Eastern. But then this episode probably would never make it to air if it was not African.
Either way, we're on here. Look.
No, you won't get your shine, Dr. Paige.
No, we're posting anyway. Look, you're a celebrity in our eyes. So.
We're laughing, but I bring that up because we can't guarantee that it's going to be African.
Yes.
The mere fact that we are African American means we're mixed.
Yes.
None of us, even if whether we look like you, Aaron, or whether you look like me.
Yes.
We all still have European ancestry in the tree. The problem is we don't know where in the family tree it is.
It is, yeah.
Right.
And so people sometimes get surprised when African Ancestry identifies that one branch that wasn't African.
We just watched the one. I forget the guy's name.
Rock, the guy, he has his own TV show.
Oh, Rock Newman.
Yes.
We just watched his. We was like, oh,
look, but I'm legit about to be like Rock. If I only got 20% black, I'm holding on to it.
Y'all, okay, they have to go watch. You guys have to go watch this episode with Rock Newton, Dr. Kittles, and Dr. Paige, because he got the dashiki on. He got all the hats on.
No, he really looks like my stepdad. My stepdad recently found out his Ancestry.com, and he was like 52% white. I'm like, this man looks just like. I'm like, so it's like I just knew he was white when I looked at him.
Yes,
right?
but
Rock Newman does. Rock Newman is he is racially ambiguous. Like you could certainly think he was white, but if you're black, you also would see black.
Yes,
so.
Exactly.
He goes hard for the culture though.
No, he
all
does.
them pictures we saw of his past.
Like,
I was mad for him. I'm like, no, you better be.
He's got to be 40%.
Right. Look, I don't care. It was 8. It turned out that he was like 80% European and 20% African or something like that.
You guys were saying it was like usually it's the opposite.
Most the average black person is 75% African, 25% European.
Yes. We didn't care. Yeah. He can be our uncle too. Okay. He went hard. He went hard for the culture.
And that's an important point to make about identity. So we're in the identity business, and identity is constantly evolving, and you get to decide who you want to be.
Yes.
Nobody else gets to tell you who you are, and so it doesn't. We all know the one drop rule. You know, you get to be whoever you want to be, unless you're somebody like unless you have no drops. If you're like Rachel Dolezal or somebody like that, it doesn't really it doesn't fly. But but in terms of Rock, he knew that he had African ancestry, and that's the identity that he chooses to live by. I know that I have European. I have at least one lineage that's Portuguese. That doesn't inform who I am. The African lineages do. So where do you think we're gonna find for you, Aaron?
I don't know. Because when I think about like people who are, I guess, from Nigeria, like I feel like I don't have the stronger features that they do. I feel like people from Nigeria look very regal, right? And I don't think I look so. That I was like I went and looked through everybody. So I was trying to see, do I kind of look like so and so? Or I've been trying. I don't know. I've confused myself at this point. So.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Aaron. Just 2 days ago was like, I'm for sure. I look like Akon's brother. I'm for sure from. He was repping Akon. I don't remember. I didn't see that episode, but I don't know where Akon's brother was from. But he thought
because somebody was Senegalese, and I think that's what Akon.
Yeah, Akon is Senegalese.
Yeah. So then I started looking up Akon, and then I found out about his city that he's building. So I saw his family. I'm like, oh, what kind of. So I'm like, wait, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know at this point.
All right. Well, can we tell him now?
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it, Dr. Paige.
All right, where's my tissue?
Okay. So we traced your maternal line. We looked at the DNA that you've inherited from your mother and her mother all the way back 500 to 2,000 years. And it is African, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. It's definitely African. And we actually found your ancestry in 3 present day countries.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
So I'm gonna tell you who they are, and then I'm gonna break down how it came to be that we found matches in 3 different places.
Okay.
So the first country, and it's not like one is more than the other. I'm just gonna start geographically. I'm gonna start at the one that's farthest north. So the first country is one of the smallest countries, present day countries in Africa. It's right by Senegal, which is where Akon is from. It's called Guinea-Bissau.
Okay.
And Guinea-Bissau was colonized by the Portuguese. And so it's a Portuguese-speaking country.
Okay.
And it has a history of resistance to colonialism and all of that. The people that you share ancestry with are called the Jola people.
Okay.
And Jola is spelled sometimes Djola and sometimes Jola, but it's the Jola people. And you have Jola people throughout the region. So there are Jola who are in Senegal. There are Jola who are in Guinea. But the ones that we found your sequence matched with live in Guinea-Bissau today. And the Jola people are interesting because normally when you think of African cultures, you think of a caste system, you think of there'll be kings and chiefs and, all these layers. But the Jola are more of an egalitarian society. So they segment themselves by families, not by hierarchies, but more evenly, like by families. And they're known, I just pulled out some of the facts. They're known to have a close connection to the land. And so they have a very rich music tradition because of course instruments are made from parts of the, trees and items from the earth. They have a very strong natural medicine tradition. So they're known as herbal, medical, I'm not going to say doctors, but herbalists. And then they also have been farming rice. They have a wet rice form of cultivation for thousands of years. And so that's the Jola people.
Well, I'm going to say this. Aaron's very musical. He has a little voice. You want to give her something?
No,
okay.
Okay.
No. You don't want to.
You can embarrass me enough for that.
I can very much see that.
That's funny. So then, now we also found matches for your sequence, your code, your maternal code among people in a country that's one country away from Guinea-Bissau, and that's Sierra Leone.
I knew it. Okay.
And so you also share ancestry with Mende people living in Sierra Leone today.
Wow.
And what's interesting about that to me is that the Mende are rice farmers. And they were taken from Sierra Leone specifically because they were able to farm rice and taken to the rice plantations in South Carolina and the Georgia Sea Islands. And so the Mende are known for so many things. They were on the Amistad, and they have these very well-known secret societies, which are like, they are organizations. The male secret society is called the Poro, P-O-R-O Society, and they initiate boys into manhood. So they teach boys how to become men.
Wow.
Now, there's not even 300 miles between Guinea-Bissau and Sierra Leone.
Wow.
These are artificial borders. At one point, this was all the same land and all the same people. But over time, the borders were, because the Berlin Conference, the borders were created. And people started to have different traditions, different practices. Ethnic groups or tribes are social and cultural. They're not genetic. So we found Jola people who have the same genetics as Mende people. They may believe different things. It's like you live in California, and where does your mom live?
Well, we
live in Vegas.
We live in Vegas.
Oh, you live in Vegas. Why did I think California? I don't know. Oh, because you asked me about California, and I put you in California. So you live in Vegas. So where does your mom live, Aaron?
Well, my grandmother and them, they come from Mississippi, and then they moved in when everybody flooded to either Chicago or California. So then my grandma and them stopped in Las Vegas.
Okay, so you have do you have a relative that doesn't live in Vegas right now?
No, everybody's
in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, on my grandma's side. Well, there's still some folks on my grandma's side that still live in Mississippi, but that's it.
Okay, so you have some relatives that share your maternal code, and they live in Mississippi.
Yes.
But you and the rest of the family have that same maternal code, and you live in Vegas.
Yeah.
You have the same genetics, but you live in different places.
Right.
And you may be AME, and the person in Mississippi may be a Baptist.
Right.
You have the same genetics, but you belong to different groups.
Exactly.
So that's how we can find the same genetics among the Jola and the Mende.
Right. Yeah.
But then there's more.
Okay.
Because right next door to Sierra Leone is what country?
Come on, Doctor.
No, hold on. No, it's not Ghana. It's Sierra Leone, and then there's. Can I cheat?
No, let her just tell us.
Liberia.
No, I'm trying to think. As much as okay, go ahead.
Liberia.
Oh,
I like this.
Right next to Sierra Leone is Liberia.
Wow.
And so there's a group of people in Liberia called the Crew people. And the Crew were master sailors. Sailors is shorting them. They were master seafarers. They knew how to negotiate and navigate the waters, so much so that the slave traders would use them to steer the ships.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And you share ancestry with the Crew.
Wow.
So we found your ancestry in 3 countries, but I don't want you to let that distract you because, again, there's not 500-600 miles between Liberia and Guinea-Bissau.
Right. Wow.
I don't know that's like DC to Georgia, maybe, or not even DC to Boston. It's so close, and we're talking whole countries.
Right.
So you actually get to decide, you can explore those different cultures, and we found matches with the exact same frequency. So we didn't choose for you.
Yeah.
You get to decide which, if, or all of the cultures that you want to explore.
Look, we taking all of them. We're grateful. We're grateful. We're grateful just to know. Like that's awesome. That's crazy. Especially I'm sure this is going to be huge for my mom and my grandma and everybody attached to that, like my aunts and uncles, because it's amazing just to hear that. Just we know, at least I know 1/8 of it, and that's
right.
That's awesome,
right.
Just to be able to do that for them as well, and for us to be able to kind of share this information with them as well. Thank you so much.
And you know who I'm excited about? I'm excited about my niece and nephew.
Yes,
because now they when they go to school, I don't know what kind of school they go to. Well, the littlest ones don't go to school yet, but when they go to school and there's some project about where you're from, they can choose Mississippi.
Yeah.
They can choose Sierra Leone, or they can choose Guinea-Bissau. One for each year. You know what I mean? Like the sky's the limit. And this is so empowering for our kids. So they don't have a voice. They're not going to know life not knowing about Africa. They're not going to know life not knowing where their people came from. They're not going to know life thinking that their history started in slavery.
Right.
Yes.
That's who I'm excited about. I mean, you're cool, and your mom and them, y'all cool. But for me, it really is exciting for the kids.
Yeah,
it is. And that's what I'm thinking about as a mother, like the fact that my kids will have an identity that is grounded in something that we know for sure. That we're not guessing at, that 2 generations back, me knowing my grandma's grandma, that's important, but we can trace it all the way back to pre-slavery, which is, Aaron and I always preach that, is that we had a history before slavery, but that's all we were taught, slavery forward. And so I'm super grateful as well.
I'm speechless. This is the first time in life I've ever been speechless.
Oh, wow. And it reminds me of something. You asked me a question earlier, and I forgot this point, but this is a good place to bring it in. You asked me about the impact that knowing this information will have on our sense of who we are and our sense of connectedness. Well, a lot of times people get this information and then they start exploring their family trees. So they weren't interested in their family trees before. But then when I tell you, well, you come from people who were rice farmers who in large parts ended up in South Carolina, you might say, well, I wonder who that was. And you start to kind of go back in the genealogy and try and fill in some of those holes. So I think it works it works both ways.
That's awesome.
Helps you get to the continent, but then knowing your continental African ancestry also raises way more questions than you had before about who you are here.
Exactly. No, that's so true. Because I mean, yeah, to even think about how they got from South Carolina to Mississippi is even, just to even think about that, that's crazy.
100%.
Yeah.
I kind of have a follow-up question to some of this as well. So to Aaron's point, we now know 1/8. What would you recommend we do to get those other parts of his identity that we don't know? What would be a next step for him?
So that's a good question. And 1/8. And by that, what you're saying, for those who may not get it, is we each have 2 parents, we have 4 grandparents, and we have 8 great-grandparents. That's 8 different lines that make up who we are. Yeah. Now that number increases exponentially. Like if you go back 9 generations, we have over 1,000 different lines that make up who we are. There's no way we're going to be able to tell you about all 1,000. Chances of you knowing someone today, if you knew about all 1,000 of those, you'd know where you were from in Africa, quite honestly. But so when Aaron took this test, he learned one of the 8.
Yes.
And so there's still 7 other great grandparents whose ancestries you could explore.
Right.
There's one other line that you can explore using your own DNA. And that would be your father's 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 line. So if you were interested in that line, you could do our Patriclan test, and then that would answer that question. I hesitate. Well, I not hesitate. I always have to give the disclaimer when I talk about the Patriclan test. There's a 30 to 35% chance that result won't be African.
Right.
Because we use DNA from the man, which is the Y chromosome, and white men were having babies prolifically with enslaved African women. And so when we look at the DNA, the male DNA, it often goes back to Europe, not Africa.
Right.
So you just need to know that if that could happen.
Yeah.
The next place I would recommend would be another maternal line, because there's a 92% chance that the maternal line is African, right? So the next maternal line, that's usually the easiest to get to, is your grandmother on your father's side.
Okay.
So your father's maternal. You now know your mother's maternal.
Right.
You could do a Patriclan test to get your father's paternal, or you can have a family member take the test to get your father's maternal. So these are how you can ways you can start negotiating. But all the other lines require someone else to take the test. So you have to find the right person who's living today who can give you the answer for that lineage.
Right. Well, yeah, because my dad has already passed away. And then my grandmother passed away like in 1990. So would I be able to grab it from my aunt, my dad's sister? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Your aunt or any of her kids.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm about to hit up Joe tomorrow.
They're about to pay somebody now.
Look, that's funny.
Yeah. And so then everybody who comes from that grandmother will share those results, just like everyone who comes from your maternal grandmother shares these results we just gave you tonight.
Wow.
I know.
Man, this is awesome. This is awesome. Look, we're moving to Sierra Leone. That's it. It's a wrap.
Well, oh my goodness, wait. Thank you for saying that. So listen, the government of Sierra Leone now offers citizenship.
Yes.
Aaron was saying this.
People who can prove maternal or paternal lineage through our test.
Yes.
So we can literally go to Sierra Leone. Well, I'm married to him. I can have that, right? I can.
Yeah.
Look,
I don't know how they treat spouses, but I know that in terms of citizenship, but I know he can get it.
That's really.
Kids.
We need to get her. We need to get yours.
I know. We need to get mine done.
Yes.
But once you're a citizen, you can probably, finagle something for your bride.
Yes.
Right.
Look, she look, we're one. We're one flesh.
Yes.
Is that what the Bible says?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one last question, I think, to wrap all of this up. And I think it's only fitting to think about how we use these ideas to move forward. And I think when we stop and we look at, to your point, the centuries and centuries of oppression, the centuries and centuries of lack of connection, of atrocities that have been done to us as African people, we also think about the fact that it has in turn caused us as African Americans a lot of, I'll just say, I don't want to say disgruntled, but essentially what I'm trying to say is those years and centuries of trauma are now still being perpetuated, and we are still living in times where we are oppressed, in times where systems are set up to disadvantage us, in times where people would have us not know our identity in order to keep us bound in a lot of ways. Obviously, revolution and social justice are things that we count as important to us and are also some of our core values. In what ways do you think we can use these ideas as African people, as African American people, to break that trauma and that oppression and those chains that have so long caused us to be bound in a lot of different areas? How can we use this test, and how can we move forward as a people, and how can this test, or how can African Ancestry help us do that?
Well, I like your reference to chains. When you know where you're from, you are immediately unchained.
Right.
So finding out your African connection unchains you. That frees you just on GP, right?
Yeah.
And then it's a mindset shift. I think this is it really comes down to mindset, because and I'm not political, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm sure there'll be those who disagree, but we've been trying to operate in a system that was designed not to work for us.
Yes.
How about we don't operate in that system?
Right.
If we we operate in this system not fully understanding that if it wasn't for us, there would be no United States.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We were the very first asset.
Yeah.
Our bodies were the first asset in this country. So I think that taking this test is the first step to shifting your mindset. It's also the first step to education, because social justice and revolution are important, but we've had social justice movements, and we've had threatened to have revolutions. And if we don't remember who we are, and understand where we came from, and understand the things that have been tried already that didn't work, so that we can do something different so that it will work, then we're never going to get anywhere. So I think you're right. Taking the test helps to start to break the chains. Changing your mindset helps you to deal with the trauma. And then when you're free, when your body's free and your mind's free, you can't be held back.
Exactly. Yes. Wow.
Free your mind. It comes after that, right? Free your mind. So I that's it for me. And I think it also, on a psychological level, and that goes back to the mindset, it gives you a sense of pride and a sense of place and belonging. Part of what, in my opinion, enables us to sway with the wind and be batted around by whatever the system throws at us is a lack of grounding. And this grounds you. So now you know that you aren't, it doesn't matter what they call you.
Yes.
You're not talking about me. Who are they talking about? So I think this helps on many different levels, as I keep saying. That's my theme for tonight, on many different levels.
It absolutely does,
It does,
Dr. Paige, and we are super grateful that you would take the time, not only to sit with us and talk this out and tell me where my baby's from. We appreciate that, but the other thing I think that we have to thank you for is this is really trailblazing work. It's really work that moves people forward. It's really work that speaks to our community and to our hearts, and it's a revolutionary act, and it's done in love, and we can tell that from the moment we saw you, from the moment we met you, and we're extremely grateful for that. And thank you for the sacrifices. Thank you for walking in your purpose. Thank you for being who you are, because it's giving other people the ability to be who they are. And it's, like I said, revolutionary work, and it's done in love, and we're super grateful for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I needed that on a Friday night. It's the end of the week, and that's very heartwarming. I appreciate it. And I, again, congratulations on your new season. You've asked some very good questions. I like the way you've asked me the questions, and I like the way that you strung along your husband's reveal and kept him on the edge of his seat. We have everything in this episode. We have intrigue. We have depth. We have levity and laughter.
She's definitely about to see keeps going, because I would get in and get out.
Tell Dr. Kittles, our man, that we love him too, and we're super grateful for the work that he's doing on the science side of things. And we're, thank you to everybody who works at African Ancestry.
Especially Nicole. That's who I was speaking with.
Shout out to Nicole.
Yeah, she was really awesome. So thank you for her patience and all my messages and all that stuff. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Dr.
Look, we have a dope team.
Yeah.
We have a dope team of people, and they're the ones who do this work for all of us. So I will definitely send that thanks on to them.
Yes,
no
thank you so much.
Thank you again for taking your Friday with us, and we're again so grateful.
Yes, can you do some shameless plugging if somebody wanted to get the African Ancestry test? Can you tell us where? Can you tell them how to follow you? So that my husband's not the only one watching you, girl.
You can check us out at AfricanAncestry.com. We're on Instagram as African Ancestry. We're on Facebook as African Ancestry. We're on YouTube as African Ancestry DNA. And I'm on Instagram as Gina Paige DNA. So you can find anything you want to know.
We don't need that one.
I already found it.
We don't need that
one. I was scared to follow you, but now I'm going to go follow you.
It's all good.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paige. We are so appreciative. Have a great night, and I don't know if we'll see you again, but
maybe, you never know. Hopefully our paths will cross. I just want to say hello to Kanan and Olivia and Kai, right?
Yes.
Hello. I wish you guys were here tonight. I really wanted to talk to you all. But thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for learning, and keep studying, and listen to your parents, because they're smart, even though, parents sometimes, they get on our nerves. But you guys have really good, great, smart, beautiful, funny parents who love you very much. So hopefully I'll get a chance to see you all next time.
Yes. We're actually I'm gonna go have them make you a video right now.
I'll email you, girl.
Yes.
Okay. Well, be sure to give that to them. This is from your Aunt G.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go get some dinner. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, we'll see you later.
Okay. Bye.